Big up.
Check, 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 check. Can you hear me? Awesome. And let's get started. Thank you, everybody, for checking in with another episode of the Man Cave Memoirs. I am your host, Tony Tong, and this is
Brandon Tillman. Best in the flesh. What's up, everybody?
Check, check, 1, 2. And we are back with another episode. I'm excited to be here. We took a week off last week, kind of did some restructuring, repositioning, man. And I'm just glad to be back in here putting in the work. Excited for what we got in store for 2024. Just new segments, new materials, new topics, new guests, new podcast spinoff. So I'm excited about that. How was your week?
Uh, so far or last week, man, it's all going running together these days. You know what I mean? As we approach the end of the year, but how am I? Let's just say my weekend. How about that?
Okay.
Because that's the most recent series of events. But the weekend went well. Just a lot of catching up. I moved across town last month, so we're approaching the first month in the spot. So the weekends have been involved. Have involved a lot of unpacking and just just trying to make sure it gets we can get as cozy as possible. We did some pictures, some Christmas pictures with the kids, and it was pretty good. I don't want to go on too much, but into detail. What about you?
Yeah, we took Christmas pictures as well. My son, we took him this morning to get ready to go get shipped off to the military. So he signed up for the Air Force, and today he starts his journey on that. So he's on his way to get ready to go to San Antonio. So his mother came into town from Atlanta, along with his other siblings and his family, along with my family, our extended family. We took some Christmas pictures downtown. So that was pretty nice. I'm glad I was able to be able to facilitate that because she was really, and when I say she, I meant my son's mother. She was very adamant of getting updated pictures before he went to the military. And my significant other was also very adamant about getting us some pictures. So
Absolutely. Shouts out to Champ.
yeah, shouts out to Big Champo. But other than that, man, very much still, you know, high stress. I think men of our caliber, we strive to execute on an extremely high level, and in doing so, we put a lot of stresses on our back in order to be the best version of ourselves as men and providers. So I'm always juggling, it seems like 10 or 11 things that are in multiple directions, and I'm always 6 steps away from bliss and total chaos in my life, and I'm glad I've been able to manage it. But there's some very promises things that are manifesting within my life. I have to make some serious decisions. I understand there's a lot of financial turmoil, economic turmoil that's out here, and I have a extremely high level of skill sets that I could share with the world. So I've been very adamant about trying to put together some digital products that I can put and present to market so I can create additional streams of income. And still dealing with the ups and downs of my traditional brick and mortar business from the tattoo shop to the grill shop. So it's always interesting. There's always uncertainties at every turn that we have to deal with. So I'm just excited to be in the process. I know for some people it's probably nerve wracking. It's too stressed than they could ever endure. But for me, I think I operate the best under highly stressful situations. And when I have certain time requirements in order to complete tasks. So yeah, man, just staying on it and staying busy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, for sure. And that was a lot of valuable information you just dropped. So don't let all that go over your heads. You may want to rewind and double back on what he was just talking about because it does take all of that. You know what I mean to be successful to accomplish the goals, and see it through, the ups and the downs. So, it's definitely a economic, uncertainty for sure right now. So it's definitely in, you know, my best interest, speaking for myself, to stay at it, you know what I mean, and stay plugging away, you know.
Absolutely. So we were just speaking about success. In your words, what defines success to you?
The consistent realization of your goals, what I mean, of a worthy goal, of a worthwhile goal. Like, what I mean, I don't think anybody just has one goal. Everybody has, like, because you can be successful in
You feel like
being to work
success
on
depends
time.
on the person, their
It
definition?
depends on, yeah, their perspective, their perception of what success is. So that's why I say, like, just having a goal, and like, your what's worthy, what I'm saying, what's worthwhile to you is determines your success.
Absolutely. I can agree with that. I think success is based on the person. Different people have different opinions of what they feel like success is. But for me, success is being able to live a life on your own accords and being able to provide opportunity for the people around you that you love and you care for. And I think that a man's success or ability to be successful is dependent a lot on his ability to handle stress and being in stressful situations. So I've come to realize that the most successful people have posture over their emotions, posture over the things that are happening. They're usually operating in chaos, but when they learn how to operate in chaos and not sweat or not become discouraged or fatigued, and the big bumps in the road for most people just become scratches to you, then you'll have the ability to truly become successful, because a lot of things that would deter people and make them quit their journey is just minor bumps in the road for you as you keep going to your destination.
No, that's facts, man. Yeah, I don't. Mic drop, but
Mic
pick it
drop.
back up and let's keep going.
Absolutely. All right. Before we get any further in this episode, I want to light up this stogie presented by LT Stogies. This is actually our sponsor. For those who do not know, LT Stogies is a premium black-owned cigar company. It's created in 2018. And what I like most about them is they have imported blends that come from Ecuador and Indonesia. So just the fact that this is a minority-owned business, they're exporting the fillers and the products is just very intriguing and delightful to see people operating at that level in their business, man. So shout out to those guys at LT Stogies. Y'all can follow them at LT Stogies on Instagram. That's LTSTOGIES. One time for the one time.
Can we have a small moment of silence for this stogie break? If you know, you know. You know, you know.
It's very much an acquired taste, but I think I'm getting more used to it. So I was scrolling through social media the other day, and make sure we're still on.
Oh, you got that at the top.
You gotta push the button down in the back right there. Push it down and then hit the button. It's like a child safety thing. Yeah, no, like this. Hold on. Training moment with the torches. Thank you so much for your patience. But I was scrolling through social media and I seen this video of Charleston White at a recent comedy show. And it seems to me that he was on stage, he was performing, he got into a verbal altercation with somebody who was in the show, and they actually jumped on the stage and attacked him during the set. Did you get a chance to see that? So a lot of people are saying that they got his ass whooped. How do you feel about that? I kind of feel like, stood up the best he could. Wow.
I mean, in that situation, I mean, you can't really say. Shouts out to Charleston White, you know what I mean? But in that situation, you can't really say he got his butt whooped because he didn't go starting the fight. You know what I mean? He
Right.
defended himself. You know what I mean? And he had to do what he had to do because he's in a situation to where he's in a
Unfamiliar
environment.
place.
Yeah, the environment is unfamiliar and it's, you know, tension, aggression, and you're there. You're there for work. You're
Right.
booked. You got paid to be here. You're here to work,
Mhm.
and you can't do your job because you know what I mean. So
You
it's
have a
like,
heckler.
yeah. So it's like, did he win or did he get it? Whatever. It's like that ain't even a. You know what I mean? That doesn't even. That's not
It's not a win-lose situation.
right.
You know, you have a guy that was booked to perform a gig, and you have people who might not have appreciated or like the jokes that he was cutting. So now you have a back and forth debate and dialogue between the person who was booked to do the show and somebody who's in the front row.
Who possibly, uh, allegedly is a family member of someone else that he's had some beef with, so another celebrity he's had beef with,
That was
or
an
worse.
alleged situation,
Well,
a rumor.
yeah, I mean, I've seen what the post I seen said he's, you know, XYZ's brother, and he's had some. He spoke out about this particular celebrity on live or something like that, and I guess his brother
Was there in
was
the
there
audience.
and whatever. But man, it's just like at the end of the day, he was there to work.
Charleston
You know what I mean?
White is a very interesting character in the fact that you know, he has a very big following. A lot of people are listening to him, but you either like him a lot or you don't like him at all, or either you like what he's saying, but you don't like the way that he conveys the message. What do you think about Charleston White?
I mean, I'm getting to, you know more about him through his content. You know, I watched an interview that's been trending over the last few days. You know, I've been watching pieces of it over the last few days also. But at first, I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was like just trolling. You know what I mean? I didn't know what his motive was, but after watching this most recent interview he had, it's like I got a better understanding of him and a better understanding of how he's using his platform. So what I think about him is that, you know, my thoughts have changed, have, you know what I mean, over the past few days just from learning new information. But, you know, I think he's definitely has a lot of truth to the things he says, you know what I mean? And, you know, just knowing a little bit of his background and looking at the type of approach he takes on things is like, I find it interesting and it's kind of entertaining, you know what I'm saying? And it's, you know, he's an interesting guy. I like him. I like what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Like you, when I first seen Charleston White, I also thought that he was kind of just a troll and he was out for attention. But when I started to actually, you know, look at his background, where he comes from, you know, the things that he's tried to change. You know, he was a guy who was in the streets, went to prison, had these particular charges, almost, you know, lost his ability to move and walk and, you know, the whole 9 yards. And then with him seeing perils and ills that plague the black community, he decided that he wanted to be a voice, to speak out against the things that were detrimental to the culture and to the community. And in doing so, you're gonna ruffle some people's feathers because a lot of people, knowingly or unknowingly, directly or indirectly, are part of the problems that plague our communities. And a lot of times we're not able to take accountability yet. So, you know, when he says things like, you know, fuck these drill rappers who are serial killers and they're on the microphone condoning and promoting destructive gangsterism, you know, people who are still in that lifestyle find that offensive that you're attacking, you know, one of our beloved friends, brothers, or idols. So, you know, that becomes a situation. But, you know, the more I listen to him, he makes a lot of really, really good points. And, you know, I find myself often agreeing with him. I don't always agree with the way that he conveys the message, but I find myself often agreeing with the point that he was trying to make whenever he speaks. And he makes a lot of good points, especially when it comes to the culture and, you know, what is influencing our children and our communities and, you know, the type of things that are acceptable and unacceptable. So I think I was recently watching the same interview that you were watching.
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Yeah, shout out to Cam Newton. Funky
Funky
Fridays.
Friday, yeah.
Yeah. And
that was a funky one.
Definitely very funky. I think that was one of his most viewed interviews that he's had since he's had the podcast.
If not, it was the quickest, viewership. The quickest turnaround, because I watched it the other day after like 4 or 5 days, and it was at like 4 million views.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was yeah.
There's some things that he says it's kind of I have conflicting ideas. It's kind of contradicting, because I'm trying to wrap myself around this opinion that he has about Deion Sanders, and I guess that I get it. But just, I guess, me being a person and a fan of the sport, me being involved in football, me being a fan of Deion, and just watching, how he kind of shifted the culture. He was doing things kind of like how Allen Iverson shifted the culture of basketball when cornrows and tattoos weren't really widely accepted. Deion Sanders kind of shifted the culture of football. So that made me very receptive to him and saying, I want to be extremely confident and, flashy when I get on the field. But
you look good, you play good. You play good, they pay good.
They pay good, and that's right. And I guess I can never fault a man, especially a black man or a minority who comes from humble beginnings, to want to continue to excel in life on any accord. So I can't get mad at you for chasing the bigger bag. I can't get mad at you for bringing eyes and viewers to a sector of college sports that people really weren't checking for, especially the school that he went to. But then I also kind of understand where Charleston White is talking about, or the points that he's making, as far as, leaving a void, right? You're leaving a void in the black community, in a historically black college, HBCU. You come in here as a savior of hope to people who are already losing. They have limited hope. They're in perils of poverty, and it's just a poor area.
Yeah.
And they feel like you're going to be the superhero that breaks them out of that, only for you to leave them high and dry after, a few years.
High and dry.
Definitely.
Like, I mean, I don't really, feel Deion, and I'm not one to, be out here bashing people's names and things like that. I don't feel I feel he did what he was best advised to do, in the situation. But I personally thought he should have stayed with the HBCUs and kept that trend going to where,
people want to go to HBCUs.
People want to come and work there, where you got these, you got coaches leaving NFL or leaving jobs in the NCAA to come to HBCUs because Deion has started this trend. You know what I'm saying? You got players that are deciding to go to HBCUs versus your UGA
traditional,
or
this,
that, whatever.
schools.
And I think that was part of the, to get him out of there, because the draft or the recruiting, it was messing up the recruiting, because now
into the D1 schools.
Yeah, because now you got people going to these HBCUs that are top prospects for, the number one D1, top ranked D1s.
Right.
And it's just like, oh, well, he's making, I don't know, he was making $1 million a year at whatever, and he was getting like 60%, 50% of the ticket sales.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you want to keep trying to hustle tickets and make your money off of ticket sales? Or do you want to take this $10 million that we finna throw you, and you can make the team up your own way? You can all-star John Madden the team. You can cut people's academic scholarships, tell them they're no longer needed on the team, and we're going to put, I'm bringing such and such from HBCU up. You know what I'm saying? He had a lot of
that type of follow, like
he had a lot of that type of decision making. I believe, you know what I mean, to where he could restructure the roster and, you know what I mean, and get it how he wanted it. But I think that all that was part of, just him getting up out of the HBCU, and just, it was just, just the offer. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, you know what I mean? But personally, I had loved to see him stay at the HBCU for another, just imagine how hype it would be if he was still at the HBCU. You know how hype the HBCU
circuit would be
right now if Deion was still there. You
I
know what I'm
completely
saying?
understand.
Yeah. But shouts out to Deion. Like that's the number. That's the reason I wore number 21 for sports. You know
21,
what I'm saying?
21.
Because Deion was that guy. You know, like I said before, I had the rookie card where he's got the New York Yankees on the front and he's still in the base, or he's got the, you know what I'm saying, the Atlanta Falcons on the front and he's still in the base on the back with the Atlanta Braves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that card was an inspiration in my childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Deion Sanders.
So I seen we were looking at an article earlier that said that Alex Jones has just had his ban removed on X, formerly known as Twitter. Now, Alex Jones, for you guys that do not know, he is the host of InfoWars, which is a independent news and journalist site that is often criticized as being far right and even conspiracy theorist based. So a lot of his thought processes and ideals were a little controversial. So they banned him off of social media market. So I remember when I first seen Alex Jones. He was very interesting. He came around at a time that I was asking a lot of questions. I felt very misled by the American government. And he started presenting information to me that made me really go back and kind of look at international politics. And the first thing that I really paid attention to that Alex Jones put out was it was a documentary by the name of Obama's Deception. And it had Obama's face on the mask, and there was another face behind it, which kind of gave you remembrance of George Bush, behind this mask. And I went and watched this film called Obama's Deception, and it really opened my eyes to the matriarch, the oligarch, if you will, of governments and bureaucracies here, in the terms of how in reality we feel that we have a democracy in America, but in reality our democracy and our politicians are controlled by big corporations who fund campaigns through endorsements, through lobbyists, and by funding campaigns they endorse colonization, they endorse wars. And I just started realizing a lot about foreign policy and why things were happening the way that they were happening, and why we were always meddling in foreigners' affairs. But not to get too far off the subject, he was a very interesting character, and sometimes it came off a little cuckoo, edgy, because he was extremely passionate in his delivery. But once again, he's one of those people that says things that just make you think. It makes you go ask questions. It makes you do research. It makes you wonder if we're being lied to by our administration and by our governments, and if we really are being herded like cattle or sheep. So it's interesting to see him back on social media. I'm not following him right now, but I probably will be tuned in just to see how he's going to be acting now that he's back on Twitter. There's a lot of people that they're adding to Twitter.
Shouts out to Elon and the Twitter fam, the X team. I'm very happy that X is doing what it's doing. You know what I mean? Because as a writer, I don't utilize X how I should. You know what I mean? I don't voice my...
You don't tweet random thoughts.
I don't tweet my thoughts, as, thought pieces. You know what I mean? But I'm on there daily, and, I'm loving it. You know what I mean? Because what he's doing with what he's done since he's bought it is he's removed all of the filtering and all of the, free, how people were blocking things and they were keeping things from being seen, and, they'll keep things from being shared. And
shadow banning too.
Shadow banning, yeah. And it's just like he's, dealt away with that for the most part. It's got rid of the bots. He's getting rid of the bots. You know what I mean? He's doing a lot to where it's like, it's just more happening in real time. more updates real time. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's not the off the shelf type news reports you're gonna get. The information, you can flip seeing one station
And see mainstream media
and then you
reports.
flip the next station, it's the same thing. Flip the next station. You may see that on X and it's like go to the comments and you're getting viewpoints. Someone may actually have more in-depth information or actually footage, you know what I'm saying, to, well, blunt what they saying. This you can look at this video I got about it. You know what I'm saying?
So you overall like X or Twitter as a medium of social networking?
Absolutely.
You would consider it to be one of your more favorite programs?
I'm working on it. You know what I mean? Because I'm in the space where, I like the entertainment aspect of IG. You know what I mean? I like that. So the what X has to offer, as far as the information and the news aspect, I feel that's more, more more of a contribution to what I have going on.
Right. Well, I mean, with the current situations that Twitter or X is facing and Elon Musk is facing, you have a lot of advertisers who are pulling from Twitter because they feel like Elon Musk promotes anti-Semitism, which I don't even know when they created that word. But do you feel like he has his back against the wall? Do you still believe in Elon Musk as his vision? I mean, even with all the advertisers pulling off of his platform, where do you feel like the future in X and the future of Elon Musk is? What does it lie?
Well, first of all, I do want to take a quick moment to bust a left and say that I apologize to all the viewers, and supporters of the Man Cave Memoirs that y'all see me drinking out of this little blue plastic cup. You know what I mean? This is very, very, you know what I mean, Man Cave Memoirish, you know what I mean? But we're going to keep it rocking.
I'm gonna take accountability for that. I'll get into why this is briefly. See, my guy Brandon is a very big stickler on germs, cleanliness, and stuff like that. And unfortunately for me, I've had these Man Cave Memoir glasses in the sink, and I have yet to wash them. But me, I'm a cowboy. Custom glasses at that, yeah.
Sure.
Me, I'm a cowboy, so I'm a wipe it out with a paper towel and throw some more cubes in it, rinse it out and stuff like that.
Kid Rock. Shouts out Kid Rock.
Yeah.
I'm a cow, but but yeah, I think Twitter, X, I think it's just on its, I wouldn't say second leg, but it's on its next gear. You know what I mean? It's like, you got the people pulling out, you got this, that, whatever. It's just making room for more. You know what I mean? Because, bro, it's a valuable tool for networking. It's a valuable tool for information. It's just a valuable tool. Like, if you're not on X, like, it's like let's look at Facebook and IG. Okay, LinkedIn.
Right.
So like X to me is like LinkedIn. But it's like LinkedIn, but it's like along the lines of IG, Facebook. If you had, you know what I'm saying, it's like it's like a fun, like a version of LinkedIn where you can share like your expertise of shit. You know what I'm saying? You can share like your uniqueness. You know what I'm saying? Like LinkedIn, it's like people are looking for you. They know what to look for. They want to look for dang entrepreneurship. They want to look for, LinkedIn has that type of stuff, and X is like a fun version of LinkedIn.
Do you feel like what Elon Musk has done with Tesla gives you more confidence in his abilities and what the future looks like for X?
I really don't really look at Tesla and X in comparison.
I mean, Tesla was a failing company when he came in. Is that safe to say?
I don't know enough to elaborate on that. Honestly, I thought he started Tesla, from the ground up. So I
No.
don't know. Yeah, so I would have to do some research on that. But I don't look at the two in comparison. I look at all three of everything his name is tied onto. I look at it as different, whatever. Different businesses or different. Just I was listening to a Jordan Peterson interview today. He was interviewed on a podcast, and he was just talking about knowing people that work for Elon or work with him, and how he was just like a. I don't want to misquote him, but he was saying he was just like a hyper focused, hyper thinker. You know what I'm saying? Like to where it was like he quoted Elon saying like, "I don't think people would want my life because they couldn't handle the storm of thoughts and shit like that." So, I forgot the original question you was asking, but
No, I was saying, does his performance with Tesla give you more confidence in his abilities and even the future of X, even though it looks bleak right now?
I mean, yeah, man, like, bro, like he's like once again just quoting Jordan Peterson from the interview. He's like 1 in a billion, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like nobody's the shit he's doing. Like only, like companies are trying to do shit he's trying to do as a person, or he's doing as a representative. Like things that he represents. Like
If you had to give your opinion, would you consider Elon Musk more Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark's?
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark's?
Yeah. Because he's not, Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is way more calculated, way more composed, way more, you know what I mean? Like way more meticulous, I guess you could say. But Tony Stark's was kind of almost,
Spontaneous?
yeah, like almost like the shit we see. Like if you follow Elon on Twitter, which I do, you know what I mean? Like you see him commenting on American issues, and it's like, damn, I feel like you ain't even. You know what I mean? We can't look at you when you say shit like that because you're not
An American?
Yeah, and it's just like, but damn, like I'm surprised he'd even tweet that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's that Tony Stark's side that I get from him.
Absolutely. Speaking of these people who are banned on X, they just reinstated Andrew Tate on X. So even though Andrew Tate seems to be everywhere on social media, he has no personal social media accounts, which is very interesting and powerful to say the least.
He's on X.
Yeah, he's on X now. Yeah, but he wasn't on any. He just had recently got reinstated to that. So there are a lot of people in society who feel like Andrew Tate is detrimental to society, and another sector of people who feels like he is very impactful and he's what society needs. What is your personal opinion on that?
I like Andrew Tate. I like Tristan Tate. I like the Tate brothers. I like the movement. Moneybags, one of the members of the Real World, someone who I seen, grow, from a car salesman, here in the States, taking a chance, going abroad, becoming a freelancer and becoming, one of their inner circle, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I've seen a lot happening, from the Tate community. So, I mean, as Tate, as the leader, him and his brother, how they've handled the whole jail thing and the house arrest and the accusations and you know what I mean? How it seemed like they were done, finished for. You know what I mean? It's just like, they say all media is good media or all something is good, all exposure is good exposure, whatever it is. Like they have really, done a lot, man. And it's just like, it's admirable, you know what I mean? As a man, as someone, I consider myself to be a valuable man, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I'm just taking notes, you know what I mean? Because what they're doing is just utilizing the power of the internet. And, they're just really have a big following, you know what I mean? It's like they're really showing guys, around the world, like, hey. Man up.
It's extremely crazy that you say that all media is good media, because Andrew Tate has been on the internet for well over 10 years, but I had no clue, and I consider myself to be an extremely resourceful and intellectual man who is very educated. I had no idea who Andrew Tate was until they were arrested and put in jail. So when they were arrested and put in jail, and they were being accused of all these heinous crimes, I was like, who is Andrew Tate? Who is trafficking women? And this made me want to go read the story. The story seemed extremely questionable. There was a lot of red flags in the story. But in me researching the story, I was like, okay, so who is this Andrew Tate guy? And before I knew it, I was being sucked in to the information and the movement that they created. And it's because there was a lot of things that he was saying that resonated with my core beliefs and who I was as a man. So a lot of things about being persistent, being resilient, about how you can create the life that you want if you just try and put forth the energy. There's a direct correlation between your mental strength and your physical strength. And just the overall message that he was presenting, it just aligned a lot with my views. And it was almost like a breath of fresh air when I seen him online. I'm like, man, this guy thinks just like me. Maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe I'm not over ambitious. Maybe I'm not overzealous. Maybe I'm not unrealistic to think that my dreams can trump true if I continue to try, just because they're unrealistic to other people. So I think that he is good for some people and bad for some people. And I feel like he's good for men overall, so we can regain chivalry and regain men who want to be masculine providers, protectors, and problem solvers. But I think that he's problematic for some people, because there's some people.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he goes against traditional beliefs. Yeah. And once you empower and awaken a sector of the sleeping giant, right? Once you awaken this, now the people who have power, now their power will soon be challenged, right? Because now you have an uprising of people who are waking up. They're realizing that their life is shit. They're realizing that their life is not shit simply because they're not good people. It's because systematically it was created for them not to have things. It was created for, we're in the service industry. So you think about it, we went from the agricultural period where the complete country was built on the backs of slaves and Chinese immigrants who built the railroad. So you had slaves building in the cotton fields. You had Chinese immigrants who were building the railroads. And this whole country was built on the backs of indentured servants and slaves. And then you move out of this agricultural era into this industrial era. And then this whole industrial era goes on, and you have industry, you have the first cars to come out, and then you move from the industrial industry into the service industry, in which the entire population of society is trained and conditioned mentally to go service somebody else, right? You think about it? So right now we're coming into the age of technology, but for the past 20 to 30 years, we've been in the age of service. So that means that the majority of people who are paid to service other people or to perform a job for somebody in which they service somebody else, right? So inside of this service industry or era, you are conditioned to go serve someone else. So you think about it, you go to school, the idea is to get a job and go work for somebody who's going to pay you a certain salary so you'll have this nice life, 401k or whatever, but you're still being conditioned to go work for somebody else. In this service era, nobody is being groomed to create their own ideas, to be a creator, to produce something for the market. Everybody is taught to be a consumer and to go serve someone else. So no matter if you're working at Burger King, you're serving somebody. You're working in Walmart, you're serving somebody. You're working in Target, you're servicing somebody. You're working in a restaurant, you're working in a car dealership, you're serving somebody. So even when we go to school, we're taught, even in college, we're taught to go and find a job where we can service somebody. but there's not a big emphasis put on becoming a creator, provide something to the market, create something of value, create a service of value where people come to you. It's all about going and performing this for somebody else. So, in this service era, we created slaves, right? So we went from slaves on the plantation to slaves in the workforce because we're being given income enough to give us a house and a car, but it's not enough to level up in life. It's not enough to get to the next stage. It's not enough to change your lifestyle. So in reality, slavery never died. It just changed forms. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, totally. Totally. That's how it is in these modern day times. Um, Slavery went from the plantation to the workforce, to the factory, to the cubicle, if you will. You know what I mean? It's tough, and it's crazy because it took so long for a lot of people to wake up, myself included, to wake up to, you know, oh dang, this is, you know what I mean? Like, it seems sweet, but at the end of the day, it's like it's all about, doing your own thing and like creating, um, creating over consuming. And that consumption is part of being a slave, mental slave, you know what I mean? Like emotional slave, just um
That's what we're conditioned to be. We're not conditioned to be creators. We're conditioned to be consumers. So we're not taught to create things for the market and create opportunity where we're conditioned to consume, to work and consume things. So, it just stifles the intellectual capabilities of a society.
oh yeah, big time, big time. It's very, very very important, to know that, in this time we're in where it's like, hey, you can create your own thing and have, replace your salary, replace your income, from your job, from something out your mind or whatever, especially with so many restrictions on people having free speech and having, you know, um, just the ability to like talk about what they want to. Because regardless if people know it or not, it's 10,000 people just like you know what I mean, out there
Right.
that will, wholeheartedly support you, buy everything you put out, this, that, whatever. And, you just got to be careful because if you're a creator and you are out here creating something that is um, offending people, you know what I mean, or offends a group of people, you know what I mean, you could be a target, you know what I mean. And we're in an era where free speech is at risk.
Do you feel like free speech is at risk now?
Absolutely. And that's why, once again, back on the X, Twitter, Elon thing, is just like, I'm happy now because I see the difference before he bought it, that how things would be, you know, the free speech just wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like, it's a total difference, like, between how Twitter was or X was before he got it and it is now. And I don't, what I'm saying, participate on X for the drama or the media or the, the news about it. You know what I mean? But that's a prime example. Like the news you're seeing and like the media coverage you're seeing is like, when it was X, it was like catered to. You could tell it was like certain advertising or certain. You know what I mean? Like it was. You could tell
It
it
was
just.
catered to a certain demo.
Yeah, and like
Okay.
now it's just like it's different, and that's why I rock with it heavy now because it's like a lot of good information on there.
Does it feel when you're on X? Does it feel less restricted and censored than other platforms?
It does, yeah, very much so.
So you feel like there's an attack on free speech. I also feel like there is an attack on free speech. Why do you feel like this is? Why do you feel like there would be a interest in censoring and quelling certain voices?
Well, the time that we live in now, you know, um, everyone has a stage. Anyone can have a platform. Everyone has a voice. Not saying everyone needs to have their voice heard, but everyone has a voice now, and it's just like, if you can dictate or articulate your message, in a certain way, or if you can catch the ears or, impress people, with what you're saying, it can be taken as like the law. It can be taken as the truth. It can be
to your community.
To the community. And it's just like, we're just in a time now where things just spread so fast. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just where we are. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's definitely under attack because I guess maybe just to control the narrative,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree. I do think that there is an attack on free speech, and I think that is exactly for what you say. The reason is there's an attack on free speech to control the narrative. So I remember there was always a quote that I heard that says that the victors are the ones that write the history book. So the ones who are dominant, they're the ones that control the narrative. They're the ones who control the message. They're the ones who write the history books on what is and what isn't. So when you have certain people in society who challenge the status quo or the commonly believed or accepted narrative, sometimes that can be threatening to people who hold power and influence. So I do feel like there is an attack on free speech, but what we have to do
corporations,
corporations. But what we have to do as mindful and intellectual beings within our community is we have to, instead of getting involved in this cancel culture and getting behind just canceling people for their opinions, which I feel like is very stupid. I believe people should have the right to their opinion, and whether you agree with the opinion or not, that's your prerogative. If you agree, fine, but if you don't, keep going, because everybody is entitled to their own opinion. But the fact that we're in this time period where people can get canceled just solely based on their opinion. They haven't physically done anything, but just because their platform is so big and they have an opinion that is strong enough that they can influence other people who might not have that type of control over their personal actions. So now I have to be held accountable for their actions, and I have to be censored on my voice for just sharing my opinion.
Isn't that crazy?
It is very crazy.
Like, if you got 5 million followers, you can't, if you say some shit that the investors of this platform, you know what I mean, don't agree with, these people that are investing in the development of this platform, or people that have the most ad space on this platform, you know what I mean, if they don't agree, they can pull their, like you said, people were pulling their sponsorships from X, you know what I mean, based on some stuff that was going on. And it's just like, hey, if I'm, Tate, and I'm on here talking about beta males, this, that, whatever, you know what I'm saying, but the biggest dang sponsor ad spaces with the, XYZ community, you know what I'm saying, and it's just like, they don't like that because I got 5 million followers, and, you know what I mean, them 5 million can tell 10 people a piece, so now that 5 million done had a reach of, 50 million.
50 million, right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like, in that, like you said, that controls, that is a narrative, you know what I mean? Because it's like, if you think, just if that continues to just add up and multiply over 6 months, 12 months, you know what I mean? If they don't put a stop to it or get in front of that,
you can change the power structure.
Yeah. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. To think about it like that in retrospect, absolutely. And I went through something similar, because for those of you guys who don't know, I have a history in media marketing and radio. And for a long time, I thought that I was going to be an affluent radio personality, and this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a voice of the people. But when I was working in radio, I was also on sales. So that means that I also put on the suit and tie, and I went out and sold this media product to businesses and things of that nature. And the majority of my book of business was small minority businesses. But I came into this space to where I was extremely opinionated. I was very, very socially active, and I started to share my opinion. So there were times working in radio, right, major syndicated radio, where they would come to me and be like, you can't say this on your social media. You can't talk about these type of things. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? I'm not saying anything detrimental to the brand. It's like, well, you're in here, you're sharing your personal opinions about how you feel like the police sometimes operate like gang members. And I'm like, that's how I feel. I feel like the police operate as gang members. They wear the same colors, they wear the same stars, and sometimes they operate with zero to no accountability for their actions. So yes, they do act in sometimes and in some senses as a criminal group who does commit crimes as if they were a gang. And it's like, yeah, you can't say stuff like that because, it might piss off the investors or the people who spend money on this platform. And I'm like, I don't have nothing but black clients. I don't have no major car dealerships or no McDonald's or anybody like that. So the people that I represent in my book of business, they have the same sentiments that I do. I speak to the same problems that they see in the community and that they have a concern for. So it pretty soon came to, it was so much reprimanding to where it felt like every other week they were saying, hey, you need to take this down and stop saying that, to where I just got to the point to where, man, like, I can't be censored. I can't have anybody quelling my opinion on my own personal platforms and stuff like that. So I really had to make my decision whether I was going to continue to put all of my time and energy into mainstream media, into radio, or was I going to do something different? And I guess I'm glad I decided to do something different, because those talents and attributes that I had in that field was able to transcend into what we're doing right now. No censorship.
Shouts out to free speech.
Shouts out to free speech. So,
what's that? The Second Amendment?
First Amendment. First Amendment, yeah.
First Amendment.
Free speech is First Amendment. So that means it was extremely important. That means when they first wrote out the Constitution, before they wrote anything else, they wrote free speech. And a person should have their own opinion and be able to speak on their own opinion without persecution from outside bodies. So yeah, very much for free speech. And I don't know, man. It's a scary time. I feel like there's an attack on free speech. I don't even know how long we'll still be able to speak about the things that we want to freely. Like right now, we have a platform, but you can see how the restriction is closing in and getting tighter and tighter. And I think as more people awaken to what's really going on and they start really speaking out to the ills and the injustices and the systemic and institutional problems that we have within the system that makes the system itself flawed, that as more people speak up, there will become more restrictions on what we're allowed to say and the messages that we're allowed to spend, because what's going to ultimately happen is that there's going to be a revolution, and I don't want to say that word to, put myself on any hot list or to arouse any extra suspicion. But what happens when people become frustrated with their current system, whether it's a political system or economic system, usually what happens is that enough people get sick and tired that they end up revolting. And there comes a new structure that comes into place. So I think that there is a dire desire. That's a phrase. There's a dire desire to control the narrative that we, the people, actually put out there, because once the people are able to enlighten other people that they're actually slaves in this system, and that people start to stand up, they understand what's going on, and they start to fight back and create their own self-value and worth, and they break away from this system, it becomes problematic for the powers that be, because now you have regular people in the community, you have regular individuals who are coming together for a common goal, and they're challenging the status quo and the power structure. So for those people that are in positions of power, it's very dangerous for us to spread positive messages, especially when we're telling the truth about what's really going on. So I get it. It's just it's an interesting time period that we're living in right now.
Very, very interesting. I agree. And that was very well put, and I think everyone should know, in the meantime, between time, while things are developing and unfolding, they're one place for unfiltered adult male conversation. Right here.
At the Man Cave Memoirs.
At the Man Cave Memoirs.
And that pretty much concludes our episode for today. Please do us a favor. Click the link below, like and subscribe. Make sure you get all the notifications for all of our up-to-date and new information, new reels, new YouTube shorts, and new episodes. So make sure you click the like button. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you share the video, and tune in next time for the Man Cave Memoirs. Peace.